Good people, God bless you and welcome to another Mind Gym workout with me, Buleng Khosisele, the Mind Surgeon. We are here every week with a mindset change conversation in which I'm committed to exposing and challenging and eliminating limiting mindsets and then developing mindsets that are aligned to the results you envision and desire. So we do that by unpacking and exploring concepts and insights about the mind as they relate to your personal development and your professional assignments. We've really had an epic time since we started this channel a few weeks ago. It's really been phenomenal. If you've missed any of the sessions or what we call workouts, if you've missed any of our workouts, you can go to my YouTube channel and revisit all of the sessions. So, in the previous workout, we talked about the power of identity, and I believe it offered some really great insights. After the podcast, though, I felt we could still go in further to dig out and bring up some more insights that would take our awareness and understanding and ultimate mindset change to yet another level. So, I decided to do a part 2. And I'm confident that you'll find it very, very useful. So I'm really looking forward to sharing with you part 2 of the power of identity. We are diving deep today. Identity. Knowing who you are. Because there's power in knowing who you are. And that is what we're going to do today. Alrighty, I'm ready. If you're ready, let's go. In our previous episode, we talked about the power of identity and how our true identity is not achieved or is not attached to anything outside of yourself. So our point of reflection was, if all the things you had were to be taken away, who are you? When there's no title beneath your name, who are you? So today I want us to dive deep and address that question. If I don't get my identity from things, then where do I get it from? If things are not my identity, if cars and degrees and money and titles don't make me me as good as they are, then what does? What is my identity? Every person at one point of their life or another asks themselves this question. Who am I? And why am I here? What is my purpose and where am I going? They ask themselves questions about their very existence. And these are questions about identity, about the search for meaning of life. And it's important to know that when people engage in self-destructive behavior, it's not merely because of unfavorable circumstances, contrary to what many may think. Similarly, when people go on to succeed in life, and not only succeed but also successfully survive their success, it's not merely because the circumstances were favorable. It's because of their identities. To take a quick but great example, Adam in the garden was in a place of abundance, a place of protection, and yet he still self-destructed under the most comfortable, under the most favorable of circumstances. Jesus, on the other hand, was tempted in the wilderness. The wilderness is not like the garden by any means or by any stretch of the imagination. His circumstances were less favorable, yet he went on to defeat the enemy. So it wasn't their circumstances, and it's not your circumstances either, that are driving your behavior. It is simply a question of whether or not you know who you are. It is because of identity. The first Adam didn't know who he was, and the second Adam did. Some people know who they are. Some people don't. But this tells us there's hope. If you already know who you are and the reason for your existence, then this is not for you. But for those of you who may be listening and you have wondered in the past, then keep listening. So to answer this all-important question, who am I? You must first understand the simple truth. God made you. Because when you get that truth first, when you realize that God is your creator, then the rest easily falls into place. It easily answers the question of who am I? But let's go into a bit more detail. Now, somebody may say, I know God is my creator, but I still struggle with my identity. Don't worry, I got you. The word says in Genesis 1 that God created man in his own likeness. And then it says in Genesis 2 that he formed man from the dust of the ground and breathed the breath of life into his nostrils, and man became a living soul. That right there, my friend, is a full summary that answers the question, who am I? But let's break it down so that we can build it up and you can see how it all comes together. First, it said that God created man. Then in the next chapter, it says God formed man. Guess what? There's a difference between creation and formation. Wow. And wow. So it means that whoever you are, the who am I that we're trying to figure out, whoever you are, it means there's a part of you that is created and a part of you that is formed. So there's three things here. It tells us that as human beings, that is you and I, we are made up of three parts. So this explains the tripartite nature of man. Now here's the cause for most of our stress and depression and frustrations and social ills. Here's the reason why we tend to think that our identity is in things. It's because most of us are only familiar with only one part of our being, the part that was formed, which is the part of you see, called your body. But we learn that your body is not all there is to you. It's only one part of you. And while it is an important part of you, it doesn't represent all of you. What does that mean? It means that your physical mirror is not a good place to go to when you're looking to find your identity, because it only reflects one part of you. And if you take your identity from a mirror reflection, what you're wearing, the color of your skin, your gender, then you are developing an inaccurate identity. The danger or downside is that if you think that the mirror reflection is all you are, and it's a negative reflection in your eyes, then you'll do nothing to change it. Or if you think the mirror reflection is all you are and it's a positive one in your eyes, then if it's taken away, then you'll be taken away with it, mentally, physically, emotionally, and otherwise. So you cannot know who you are by simply looking in the mirror. There's more to you. And we see this when we refer back to the scripture, because it says that God breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. So there's two key things to note here, especially in relation to your identity. The first is that if God breathed his own breath, his spirit into man, which gave man life, then it means that man's life came out of God. The second thing is that if man only became a living soul after he was breathed into, then it means that the body only became alive after it was breathed into. Why is this important to note? This is why. When you put those 2 points together, we can see that the body without breath, and the word for breath in Hebrew, by the way, is spirit. So we can see that the body without the spirit is basically a dead body. It's a lifeless body. But what it also tells us is that the body is not the spirit. That is why your spirit can leave your body and your body can still remain here. I mean, we see it every day, at least in my culture, where someone has died and yet there is viewing of the body. Because when somebody dies, their body is still there. Their heart is there, their brain is there, their lungs are there. But the heart isn't beating, their brain isn't functioning, their lungs are not working because there's no breath, there's no spirit in them to give life to those organs. So it tells us that the body is not the spirit and the spirit is not the body. But here's the thing. The body needs the spirit to give it life. And the spirit needs the body to express itself. That's why when we miss loved ones that are no longer with us, it's not that lifeless body we're crying for, but their spirit that was expressed through their body. If it were just their body that we wanted, then we wouldn't bury them, would we? But it is the spirit that makes the body. So I'm going to say this again. The body cannot be life itself. The body cannot be what gives the body life. So it means there must be something else outside of the body that gives the body life when it is inside the body. And that takes life away from the body when it leaves the body. And that is called the spirit. And hopefully this demystifies a lot of misconceptions about the spirit. The spirit or spirituality is not a religious term, people. It's a reality term, if there's such a thing. I don't know if there's such a thing. If there wasn't, well, now there is. So it's a term concerning reality for those of you who like being realistic. It refers to a part of you that gives life to your body. Your spirit does. Because you can look, but you don't know how to make yourself see. Being blind doesn't mean you don't have eyes. That's reality. And the reason you have rejected anything to do with the spirit is perhaps because you haven't come to the full realization of who you are. You only know the physical part of you, which is your body. But the only reason you know your body and can see your body and can feel your body and can use your body is because there's another part of you giving life to your body, and it's called your spirit. All right, let's complete this picture. We've already established you are body and you are spirit. Who else are you? It says, then man became a living soul. So your body, after it was formed, it was just lifeless, like we said. But when the breath of life, the spirit, was breathed into it, that's when it became a living soul. And so that's the third part of you, your soul. But what does living soul mean? It means a living mind, a conscious mind. And we see that you become a conscious mind when the spirit of life is united with your physical body. So notice there are three parts: the spirit, the mind, and the body. And yet there's only one you. Why? It's because you are a tripartite being. You are a spirit, you have a mind, and you live in a body. You are a spirit, you have a mind, and you live in a body. That is who you are. You're a spirit. That is the essence of who you are. You are a spirit. You have a mind, and you live in a body. Now, here's what I want you to see. I want to talk about your house, the brick and mortar house you live in. And as I talk about it, I'm going to relate it to your body, which is your physical form, the flesh and blood that you live in. Remember, you're a spirit and you live in your body. So I'm going to make reference to your brick and mortar house so that you can understand something about your flesh and blood house. And the moment you get it is the moment that the chains that have kept you bound fall off. You are moments away from freedom. Are you ready to be free? Here goes. So imagine, if you will, that you are shopping around for a house to buy, and you are driving around to see what is in the market for sale. You are going to base your decision on which house to go for on many things. Let's just look at a few of them. The decision will be based on the house design. Is the design too masculine or is it too feminine for your liking? Let that be a symbol of your gender. You are male or female. You may not like the house because of its size. It's too big or it's too small. And let that be a symbol of the few things you've accumulated in life to date, or the many things you may have accumulated. You don't consider the house because it looks too ancient or too modern. And let that symbolize your age. You are too old or you are too young. You overlook the house because you don't like the color of the paint. Let that symbolize the color of your skin, dark, light, and everything in between. You're not interested in the house because of its location, and that can represent where you are in life, living large or just living. Or you completely disregard and dismiss the house because it's in a dilapidated state. Things are falling off, graffiti all over the walls. The paint is peeling off, there's water stains and watermarks on the walls, weeds all around the yard. We reject it, or you reject it, because of its current state. Let that represent your current circumstances, your struggles, your challenges, your limitations, your frustrations in whatever area of your life. Now, here's the thing. When you're looking to buy a house or to rent a house, you are wise in considering those things that we just talked about, because those are the things that ultimately determine the value of the house and the quality of your life in that house and all of that. But we get it wrong when we judge ourselves and others like we judge a brick and mortar house. Because although your body is a house, it's only where you live, but it's not you. So your gender, age, race, accumulations, or the lack thereof, where you are in life, what you are going through in life, those are just the house. They don't show us the you living in your house. What they show us is your mindset, your past thinking patterns that have created your reality. But they don't show us your potential. That is why you should not rule anyone out. That's why you shouldn't rule yourself out. Because if you choose to, you can change the state of your affairs by simply changing the part of you that needs to change in order to see a change. The part of you that links your spirit to your body. The part of you that is your mind. Now, while the world will always judge you based on what it sees, you can begin to change what the world sees when it looks at you by changing how you look at yourself. Not through the lens of your external reality, but through the lens of your inner potential. Not by what you have not accomplished, but by what you are yet to achieve. Not by your past mistakes and failures, but by your future successes. Not by your setbacks, but by your comebacks. And when you start to see yourself differently, the world will too. Because the world can only see you how you see yourself. Now, this is where we cut off the very last chain that's been holding on to you. Listen to this. When you see me, all you are seeing is my house. And my house is only reflective of the choices I have made in the past. So my house or my reality can be different if I exercise different choices. In other words, the way to fix anything that is broken is not to fix what is broken, because I can guarantee you it's only a matter of time before it breaks again. So the way to fix anything broken, relationships, health, career, the way to fix it is to fix the mindset that caused the breakdown. Did you hear what I said? You fix broken things by fixing the mindset that caused them to break down. Here's what I mean. Your mindset came to be what it is through a sociological process. This means that all of your patterns and habits of thinking were learned through the environment you grew up in and the things you were exposed to, including your education and your experiences. Your mindset, therefore, represents the part of you that has been polluted and even corrupted with misinformation and lies and distortions. And all of that disinformation has resulted in erroneous thinking patterns. That is why this is the part of you that needs to be renewed and transformed, because it's new paradigms and new thinking patterns that will change your life. Now understand that the part of you that God created, not the body he formed, but the you he created, that part of you is creative. That part of you is limitless, fearless, it's confident and capable, and it's not intimidated by other people's opinions. It is a reflection of God Himself. It is your spiritual essence. So the only true source of your real identity is the Word. That's the only place you should learn to look at when you need a reminder of who you are. Because the only information you can trust about who you are is information from the Creator's manual, not information from other people's opinions, and certainly not information from your circumstances. So as we wrap up, remember these two things. Number one, most people's opinions about you, particularly your haters and critics, are coming from their own dysfunctions, their own internal conflicts. And brokenness cannot objectively judge wholeness. Don't forget that. And number two, circumstances only reflect your choices. And most of your choices were made based on misinformation and disinformation that you got through your experiences, your education, and your environment in general. So they cannot reveal who you are or where you're going. So be careful not to confuse your identity with subjective, uninformed opinions. And please, please don't confuse your identity with your changeable circumstances. Blessed people can go through tough times, but blessed people overcome tough times. You are made in the image of God. If you never lose sight of that identity, you will come out of the fire with no smell of smoke on you. Look, I hope this message will initiate a process of transformation, a paradigm shift, an elevation in your understanding and in your life. I'm going to encourage you to subscribe to the channel and click the bell for notifications, because that's going to let you know when we upload a new video. Also, if you like the post, like it. Like it on whatever platform you're on. It helps the platforms determine which posts to put up. It's algorithms, I suppose. And keep the comments coming. I go through them and I'm very much encouraged by them. I'm not always able to respond to each of them, but I do read them and I appreciate them. So keep them coming. Our time is up. So this is where we end our workout for today. But in the meantime and in between time, remember to treat your mindset like your life depends on it, because it does. Until next time, stay blessed.